ever wondered, why do we frequently act in such an unreasonable manner? Psychologists do that as well, which leads to an endless number of studies about human nature. There are still many unresolved questions about human behavior, but we work every day on discovering the conclusive explanations for it. We've compiled 25 psychological facts that have been scientifically confirmed. They shed light on our nature and will alter your perspective on the world. Speaking in a foreign language influences your decision-making process. You maybe wouldn't expect that, but when you communicate in your second language, you might make a different decision. A University of Chicago study found that students who spoke a foreign language made decisions that were more logical and less emotionally driven. This implies that speaking a second language could affect how we process information. A happy life is not always a healthy one. Everyone wants to be happy, but according to a study done by Barbara Fredrickson, if you want to be healthy, you should instead look for significance. They looked at the genes of people who do a lot of things that make them feel good but have no real meaning, such as going out a lot, and the findings were startling. They shared the same gene expression patterns as people who experience long-term adversity. The researchers advised turning away from fleeting pleasures and turning toward meaningful pursuits. Stress can benefit us. Contrary to popular assumption, stress is not necessarily bad for you. In some cases, it can even be beneficial. Stress can help you complete tasks more quickly and even inspire you to realize your goals, psychologists have long noted. However, it's crucial to have effective techniques to handle it and the ability to bounce back from it, since without them, it becomes unhealthy and makes life miserable. Some face expressions are universal. You can find yourself on the other side of the world, in an entirely different culture from yours, and people there will be able to tell if you are sad, joyful, disgusted, afraid, startled, or angry. These feelings are recognized across cultures, and at a very young age, which is why they are referred to as universal emotions. Some people can smell colors. There are people that can hear shapes, smell colors, and see the shapes of emotions. Synesthesia is a fascinating neuropsychological phenomenon that occurs when our mind unintentionally combines sensations that are often felt independently. People who experience it usually possess this talent naturally. Things that occur to us in our early adult years stay with us for a long time. Have you ever noticed how frequently your grandmother talks about the events that occurred in her early 20s? Or ever questioned why readers enjoy books about teenagers growing up? Reminiscence bump refers to our preference for recalling memories from our adolescence and early adulthood. It may be caused by the numerous changes we go through at that time. Our minds tend to remember changes more than slightly more monotonous periods. Classical music is beneficial for your memory. Do you wish to learn something more effectively? It might be time to pull out your collection of classical music, as studies have shown that it can improve memory function in people of all ages. The Vivaldi effect is a term that describes this strong finding. The future of our romantic relationship may be better known by our friends than by us. According to the researchers Michael Ross and Tara McDonald, the best way to determine whether a relationship will endure is to ask your mom or your best friend. They claim that, because dating couples often look at the future of their relationships through rose-tinted glasses, asking their friends and family functioned as a significantly more accurate indicator of how long their relationships would last. Isolation can physically hurt us. Just give your grandma a call, won't you? Social isolation and loneliness have extremely detrimental effects on us, increasing our vulnerability to mental illness and increasing the risk of serious, negative cardiovascular outcomes. Kids are smarter when they write by hand. Psychologists suggest that handwriting should remain a part of our education, despite the fact that life is becoming more computerized. Kids who write by hand appear to learn more and retain information better than those who use a keyboard. It might be a result of the fact that writing by hand engages more senses, which helps to connect various brain regions. Daydreamers are more creative. Although mind-wandering is typically viewed negatively in our culture, psychologists claim that it can potentially be a sign of higher intelligence and creativity. Weekly exercise can prevent downgrade to Alzheimer's. According to a study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Research and Therapy, People with mild cognitive impairment who started exercising at least 3 times per week saw a significant reduction in their risk of developing Alzheimer's. It's time to lace up the running shoes. Rejection literally hurts. Have you ever had a feeling you've been punched in the gut when someone rejected you? It is understandable why rejection stings so deeply. According to neuroimaging studies, the same brain regions are active during physically and socially upsetting experiences, producing hurtful experiences that are extremely comparable to one another. Science suggests that classical and metal music fans have the same personality traits. According to research by the professor Adrian North, fans of classical music and those who love heavy metal have similar personalities. The study was done on 36,000 people from 6 different countries. Like classical music listeners, metal aficionados frequently exhibit creative, kind, and self-assured traits. The general public has held a stereotype of heavy metal fans being suicidally depressed, and a danger to themselves and society in general, but they are quite delicate things. We think the answer is that both types of music, classical and heavy metal, have something of the spiritual about them. They're very dramatic, a lot happens. The brain cannot create memories while impaired. The brain is not capable of creating memories while inebriated. Thus, you didn't forget what happened the previous evening. Simply said, the memory was never formed. It is more motivating to ask, "Will I?" rather than stating "I will." According to a study from University of Illinois, self-questioning about your goals may be more motivating for you than simply telling yourself they are true. Take a look at your vision board and think about adding some questions to it. Our dreams are more meaningful than our thoughts. 70% of all our dreams include hidden meanings. It implies that they are more significant and valuable than what we consciously consider. The reason behind it, according to Gestalt psychology, is that we project our unconscious thoughts, feelings, desires, and similar to our dreams. The whole dream, even the wildest ones, are part of our imagination, and they carry a message for us. The brain itself cannot feel pain. Even though the brain processes pain, the organ itself cannot experience it. Because of this, brain procedures can be performed on patients while they're awake, without causing them any pain. Having a plan B can decrease the likelihood that plan A will succeed. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania conducted a series of tests that showed participants who planned a backup strategy before beginning a task performed worse than those who did not. Researchers concluded that having options caused the desire to succeed the first time to wane. We always find a problem. No, I'm not talking just about women. It is psychologically natural for people to discover a new issue after fixing an earlier one. One study showed that when volunteers were asked to choose from a set of computer-generated faces that appeared menacing, they finally chose ones that did not. It turns out that the volunteers began selecting faces they would typically consider harmless as they ran out of threatening-appearing faces. We prefer anticipating a bad event over not knowing what could happen next. Researchers discovered that anticipating something bad is less stressful than not knowing how things will turn out. When we don't know what to expect, our brain uses more of its resources to anticipate repercussions. Most women rather choose motherhood over career. According to a YouGov survey done on 922 women, ranging in age from 18 to 65, most women, 69%, still prefer to marry men who earn more than they do, and in ideal circumstances would quit work altogether to be a stay-at-home mom. In addition, 59% of the respondents said they felt pressured by society to work on their careers. Optimism can be learned. Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, proposed the idea of learned optimism, which holds that humans can develop an optimistic outlook. He says that by adopting a happier view on life, we can significantly improve our well-being. A kiss of life. Men who kiss their wives first thing in the morning supposedly live up to 5 years longer. Kissing activates the pleasure regions of the brain, making you feel happy all day long. A kiss from a loved one can make you feel happier and less stressed, which is good for your health. Being exhausted after socializing doesn't mean you're an introvert. If you require time to unwind after social events, everyone appears to assume you must be an introvert. A recent study found that everyone experiences social weariness, because actively interacting with people wears out particular regions of your brain. Both introverts and extroverts frequently need time to rest certain areas. The only distinction is that introverts benefit from this desire to withdraw, whereas extroverts detest it. They appear antisocial because of their propensity to react more quickly to symptoms of social weariness. Were you surprised by any of these facts? Did you learn something new? Share with us in the comments section. Thanks for watching and take care.